Of course, we got Petey Mac here, comedian out of Tacoma, and a podcast or a radio show host too.
Yeah, I just recently started back podcasting. I was podcasting back. It was a nerdy thing to do back in college in 09 and 10. But I recently, so when I deployed in 2019, I cranked it back up again because I couldn't get on stage. So me and a friend of mine who was deployed with me, we decided to do it, and I tried to get it back up again, but then the pandemic hit, and I got stationed on an aircraft carrier back in San Diego, and then I had to go to Porch. I had to put it on the back, but I'm trying to get it back cracking again.
Okay.
You were ahead of your time with that one in 09.
I know, right? I was like, then when it took off, I'm like, ain't this about a man, golly.
So for me personally, I think that with podcasting, like I had like a personal podcast, and I consider it just to be like cultural competent therapy. But me personally, I'll get on any podcast I can get my hands on. So like, what would you consider to be like the content like relation of your podcast? What's it?
Okay, well, I'm actually running two of them. One of them, I call it The Great Unknowns. Hosted by Pete McCorvey. Pete McCorvey is another name I go by on stage. Petey Mac was the first thing I did when I first started, but then I tried to change it up to that. So, like, in case I want to like act or anything, but The Great Unknowns is what it is because I've been doing comedy since 2010. I got started in Mobile, Alabama. Graduated from college, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia. Was doing it there for about a year, some change before I joined the Navy. Then I was doing a little bit of it like in San Diego, California, and a couple of things in LA County, but nothing really to brag about. And then I went back to Georgia, to Augusta, and was doing it between Augusta, Georgia, and Atlanta. Then I came back out to San Diego, then came back up here to Washington. And in that time, I met a lot of comedians who I feel are funny. They just haven't become household names. So it's like, well, let me do this podcast to get out there and get them exposure. The other one I call it Pete McCorvey's Porch Talk. What I be doing, what I do on there, it's pretty much because I grew up in Mississippi down south. A lot of people in our houses have porches. So what we do on the porch, we sit up, we argue, we talk smack, we joke, some drunk conversations, some philosophical stuff, just straight up nonsense. So what it is with me is just sitting up there like telling some stories, giving my opinions on there, but in like a down-home southern flair. I did my first episode solo. I'm thinking about bringing some people in every now and again, but it's just pretty much like you just sitting on the porch, just shooting the breeze, like with your cousin, your uncle, or your grandpa, or your dad, or something like that.
I see that. Where do we go to find your casts?
You can either go to Anchor.fm, or you got the Anchor app. You can type in those. Like I said, one is called The Great Unknowns, hosted by Petey Mac. Not Petey Mac, excuse me, hosted by Pete McCorvey. The other one is Pete McCorvey's Porch Talk. You can go on Anchor FM, or you can go on Spotify to find those.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Now, you talking a little bit about, your comedy roots. I remember we had Bull Blast just a couple weeks ago, and he was like, I got into comedy because, well, basically we were just making fun of each other, and that was the way of living. I mean, is that how you got into comedy as well?
No, I'm going to be honest with you. Growing up, I really wasn't a roaster. Like, to be honest, I'm going to be honest with myself. I'm self-aware. I was like in a popular crowd, but I was like Screech from Saved by the Bell. I was kind of offbeat. But, I had a couple of friends tell me I was funny, but I'm like, man, I'm not a roaster, and I'm not that funny to get up in front of people and do, just tell jokes. Now, what I started off doing, I went to college for mass communications. At first, I wanted to be a sportscaster because I couldn't play sports because I lacked a little thing called talent. So I was like, I'll be a sportscaster. I can still be around sports. I get paid to talk about them because I got a gift for game and I know sports. But then I ended up taking a radio broadcasting course, and our final project was to put together a 1 hour block on the radio, and I fell in love with that. Like, because honest to God, like, radio was actually my first love. So then as I progressed through college, I was trying to figure out how to do that, and friends kept telling me, you're funny, get on stage. So my roommate kept telling me, I said, bro, if I do this one time, will you leave me alone? So I got up there, and I loved it. I'm like, oh, I like this. And then I realized, listening to the radio, I want to say I was listening to Steve Harvey's morning show. And I said, well, I can use comedy to get me on the radio.
Yeah.
Because that's actually why I started podcasting, because even though the school I went to, because I transferred to another college, I ended up transferring from Alcorn State to the University of South Alabama, which is in Mobile, Alabama. But even though they had a track in radio, television, film, they didn't have a radio station. So I was like, I'm not going to let that stop. I'm going to start podcasting. But yeah, radio is like really my first love. I mean, that's what I want to do.
Man, I see you. I see you. Because when you think about there is so much room for comedy when it comes to the radio platform. Obviously, it's completely audio based. So it really is all about personality. So if you
I kind of relate to that. I was talking, I think, on another episode back in the past that the T-Man was really a huge inspiration for me to even want to be on the radio, and that's why I wanted to go to college for broadcasting and stuff. So I definitely feel that.
Yeah, man.
Because he was hilarious, man. The T-Man was like the most like ratchet dude on the radio back then. And it's like you would listen to the T-Man and be like, yo, he's like Steve-O from the hood. I want that peep show. What's good? Like he's with all the ish, you know what I mean? And so I was always listening to the T-Man being inspired to just be unapologetic about how exuberant and how like really vocally and like energetic you could be. Like you could be really calm, but have all the energy and everything you're saying. And so with T-Man, I could notice that you could be as calm as, being radio silent, but be really present in the moment and be dead hilarious, and knocking people over with your jokes. So I really took on that entity with him. Shout out to T-Man, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, T-Man is a legend out here.
You said T-Money.
I heard that. I was like, money.
T-Money.
You said T-Money, dog.
You said T-Money.
T-Man.
He pulled your card real quick.
The funny
cards
thing
is out, open hand.
The funny thing is though that the typical, back in the day, that was the typical morning host. You had to be out there. You had to be totally roasting folks, getting these callers, making the just making fun of them, and you don't really see that anymore. You see these big, huge music blocks and all.
You gotta get Howard Stern with it, bro. If you want ratings, you need to get Howard Stern with it.
Yeah, because you can't be on the regular airways like going in on people like anything. You try to go in on anybody now. Like I remember, take it back like a decade when Mel Gibson went off on his daughter. Everybody, that's atrocious. I said, if you think that's atrocious, don't come to my house and listen to my daddy because you'll think my daddy's downright cruel. You was sure my daddy was cut from the same cloth as Joe Jackson. And my dad never laid a hand on me. But it's funny you was talking about how you had to be out there because y'all ever seen that movie Talk to Me with Don Cheadle played Walt Waldo Petey Green?
It was the radio.
So I found this out, and I feel like we kindred spirit because me and him actually share the same birthday. We Petey, and we both was born on January 23rd. So, because I looked up like, okay, wow. So,
Okay. January birthdays, man.
Yeah. That late January, that makes you an Aquarius, just like I do here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Gang.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah, definitely, man. And it is all of these hosts that have all these personalities. They've gone towards these podcasts because obviously mainstream radio is just totally forgotten about. Even Howard Stern, I think he went the way of the podcast, or at least his own platform, if you will. So
right.
Well, he would have to go that way anyway. Because he's been like, I don't know how many FCC violations he probably been hit with over the years. The FCC probably got an automatic thing that just send this out to Howard this week. We ain't got time to deal with this, man.
He got a tab. As long as he keeps it under 500,000, they let him say whatever he wants.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, right.
It's funny because I said I wanted to be a radio person, but I remember when I was little, I didn't want to be a morning host. I used to tell people I kind of want to be a quiet storm late night DJ host. And the name, I had a coordinator. The name I came up was Cool Daddy Dr. Love.
He said Cool Daddy Dr. Love.
I came up with that. I just came up.
Nah, he wanted to be the host of the BET Late Night Show.
He
wanted to be playing what's that called, the tip drill video all the time.
Oh no, that's Uncut. You talking about Midnight Love? Uncut.
Yeah, the Late Night Uncut. Yeah.
That's your question.
Midnight Love came
You want to watch? You talking about radio, dog?
Yeah, that's what he said, man.
Nah, Charles just talking mess about me saying the wrong show.
No, we're on different channels. It's all good.
All right, yeah. You wanted to be that smooth R&B host, man.
No, I was just talking because I got a deep voice, and I've always had a deep voice even when I was little. Because even when I get sick, I'm 7 years old. I answer the phone hello. They're like, hey, Mr. McCorvey, put Pete on. Ooh, this is Pete. Like, ooh, boy, you sound bad. So I used to be funny. I in class, I'd be like, hey, this is Cool, that Dr. Love playing the jam to get you to your BABY.
Man,
we can go ahead and let him drop all the records now.